small forwards, and do we want them buffed or not? And now that this character is in like near takeover, I just wanted to get some footage of what that actually looks like and really like see what it's like when a 6'8" small forward is speed boosting. Let me see if I can still speed boost. No, I can't do it anymore. Oh, they block me. There goes my takeover. We stayed in a scoop on my takeover at halftime. So I'm just gonna play this character up until I get some of that takeover back. It's funny because I'm live streaming and I'm barely paying attention, and this character is just walking through the demo. And again, I recognize the demos on like pro, but if you do this with a 5'11" character, you'll see that it's much more of a struggle to be that easily productive. Look at Clay, poor Clay. I was hoping to get the foul there. I'll take that. You have no chance. I think one more dimer. That's one reason to pick playmaking takeover is you get it off of passes. So if you are a passing type player, that playmaking takeover is much easier to get than the shot creating takeover. Although I will say, before the half, I did a speed boost into a moving shot pull up with this character, and it's like, good lord, like, dude, come on, like, we don't want nothing to do with that. Hopefully the lockdowns aren't the meta of people's chat. I think every build is going to be able to put more defense in it than last year. So I don't think the lockdown will be as necessary. It's not that I think the locks will be bad. Oh, come on, Stanley. Stanley's just the worst waste of space in this game. I'll take that. It's not that I think the lockdowns will be bad. I just think that in this year's game, there's no reason not to have at least a 70 three-pointer. Like there's so many good builds you can make with a 70 three-pointer that I think I can speed boost now. Can I do it? No, not yet. You can't even catch. Come on, bro. You gotta be kidding me. But yeah, I'm with you though. I hope that the lockdowns aren't. I hope that the lockdowns aren't doing what they were doing last year because they were really hurting the game for sure. Look at that. Look at that. Like, did you guys see the speed boost on that? That was crazy. Like that launch that he got, that's what I'm talking about. So that's the tight handles badge right there. The main thing is that in this build, tight handles isn't working properly because of what we discussed in another video. But when I do that and then launch off of it, and I think in the main game that's going to be way better than it is right now. And my apologies, guys. I had it in takeover, but halftime came, and of course they took it away. So now I'm just going to try and get it back real quick. Unfortunately, I don't have playmaking takeover, so it's going to take a little longer to get the takeover, especially since Zara got everybody hanging out in the paint. That's right, Zara. There we go. But there's some, I don't know, man. I feel like with the 6, I mean, I also felt the 6-7 was really strong, but the game just feels easier with a 6-8 build, and that's something that people often ignore. They look at ratings and they look at badges, but you got to remember that your your body type is a passive skill. That's why they ding you so hard. Oh, I'm sorry, Serge. I should have hit you, my man. Your body type is a passive skill. This is a passive ability that you have in the game. Another thing to keep an eye on is range extender is popping up on every shot. This brings up a key thing, because so before it was limitless range, it only took effect on threes. Mike Wang said that range extender worked on every shot, basically. So it might extend your close shot, extend your medium range shot, and extend your 3-point shot. So that means that range extender might pop up on basically every opportunity. And if that's the case, then range extender becomes one of the most important badges in the game, because it's not just about 3-point shooting. It really is just about boosting your shooting overall. So if you have a high close shot and an iffy medium range shot, that range extender might give you a better medium range shot, the same way that limitless range gave you a much better 3-point shot. It's funny, I did the first half of this game talking to you guys and streaming, and this guy almost has a triple-double just from existing, because being 6'8" and 2K is a major advantage. Okay, I might be a speed boost now. Let me see. Still no? No, not yet. My man Kyle. He took my takeover for that timeout. Come on, 2K. Can't wait to get that microwave badge this year. I'm looking forward to the game, though. I have to say, I'm definitely looking forward to the game. I think a lot of the stuff that annoyed us last year, especially like in terms of my career, it's still going to be in the game. Like, don't expect it to not be in the game at all. So like the centers, I've seen some like speed boosting center animations and stuff like that. It's not like it's totally not in the game. Like the game's not going to be perfect and what have you. You're supposed to pass that. But I do think overall it's a much better game. It's going to be a much more controlled product. Here's another thing. No matter who I get switched up on, I don't feel like I have a problem guarding them just because I'm so freaking gigantic. Like, look how big the 6'8s look in this game. I know Draymond's not 6'8", but I look like a lot bigger than him. It's a range extender and steady shooter's pure cheese. I don't know about the steady shooter badge yet. I gotta see some people experiment with it and maybe even make a build myself and like switch the badges up to really feel the effect of it. It might be awesome. Don't get me wrong. Clay just fouling me. Okay, so now I'm definitely going to be able to speed boost at this point. And the reason I wanted to show this to you guys, and I apologize for taking 10 minutes to get into this, but it just looks so silly and ridiculous. Like on a character that big being that fast, I think limiting them to having this in Takeover, I honestly think it's a good idea. And if they get buffed, I wouldn't mind them getting buffed in certain ways, but look at that. That is crazy. Like, that's nuts. In fact, let me get a timeout real quick. How do I call time? There we go. Sorry, guys. I've been playing on an Xbox controller on my PlayStation. I almost forgot how to call timeout in this game. Let me get some Gatorade real quick. Because speed boosting with this character, like, they're completely unstoppable. Now, again, can't stress enough, I know that this is just a demo. Look at Clay. Oh my goodness. The old 2K guarding you at half court. I know this is just a demo, but you can compare. And it's not like every build feels like this, right? Like, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot for this character. Like, that's just... I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't want a 6'8" small forward that could speed boost off rip. If they put that in the game, I'm definitely picking that character and trying to ruin the park with it until they change it back, because I do think it'll be just too strong. I think the character's just too big to be playing like that. I think they might be on the mark with this one, where 6'8" is the cutoff point where you want characters to be a little slower, to have to work a little smarter, to not be able to just spam and get by you with pure athleticism. Because the way it looks right now, the way they've rebalanced the game, especially if you consider one of the things we looked at for these non-defensive builds was how bad their lateral quickness was. So if you got a lateral quick, look at that. I mean, it's just, if you got a lateral quickness of 65 or 60, and this guy's coming at you, and he just hits you with a little hezzy, and he's just out, like, on you like that, you don't even have a chance, like, of guarding that character. And if they give him speed boost dribbles, why would you pick a guard? Like, seriously, like, outside of just for the shooting, to have limitless range. It would just be every strength that I said about the small forward as a shooter would then apply to the small forward as a playmaker, and guards would be back out of the game. So playing with the build, once I got it back into that takeover area and I could just do some speed boosting, it's like, nah, man, we don't do that. Don't put that back. But that's pretty much it, guys. I just wanted to take a quick look at that and just reiterate that upon further review, I want the small forwards to get a little bit of help on, like, lateral quickness, just a little bit of help on some of those shooting hits, and some of those non-sharp build, the non-pure playmaker build. I think the rest of those builds could use a little help. I think the slashers are just junk right now, and there's no reason to pick them, because you could just pick a defender or a playmaking defender or a playmaker and get largely the same effect as you would with a slasher. Not the fun of dunking on people with the silly animations, but when you talk about being competitive and, like, getting past people and going to the basket, those builds are going to be just as good at that as the pure slasher is. And those builds can also do other things at an elite level, whereas a slasher does other things at a terrible level. They're terrible defensive players, they're mediocre passers, and they're terrible shooters. So I think the fact that slashing is kind of just is also hurting the small forward, because ideally the small forward is where you want your slashing to be coming from, because they're big enough that if they're that athletic, they can rebound, they can defend, they can get buckets, and if they just have a little bit of offense in the other areas, you're okay. But because slashing just sucks the defense and offense out of your archetypes, I think that is also making the small forward worse. You don't feel it on the smaller guards because you're not taking the hit from the height and from the archetype. But with the small forward, you're getting hit on a lot of the archetypes, and you're getting hit on the height. So that's pretty much that. Peace out.